It's November 2013, and a typhoon named Yolanda has just struck the Philippines, killing 6,000 people, flattening entire towns, and leaving 4 million people homeless. I land on the island of Cebu 48 hours later. I'm head of humanitarian logistics for the Asia region, and it's my job to establish an international hub that will receive and distribute emergency supplies. I have no office, no staff, no warehouse, no trucks, and the first aircraft is already loading in Dubai. That same morning, outside a coffee shop, I'm meeting a local businessman I've never met before. I tell him what I need and that we have just 24 hours before the first aircraft lands. We talk and we shake hands. In less than 24 hours later, I'm standing on the tarmac of the airport with a team in the middle of the night, loading trucks bound for a 2,000 square meter warehouse and for ships that will carry aid across the islands. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, you might not be standing in a disaster zone, but we all know what it feels like when the ground beneath our feet is uncertain, when we're caught between what is safe and what is calling to us. Whether an event is happening out there in the world or right here in our own lives, most of us in those moments are waiting more than we realize. We wait for better conditions. We wait for more information. And we tell ourselves, when I'm ready, then I will move. I've experienced that wait. But waiting is not neutral. It can reinforce the feeling of helplessness. Here's what I learned in disaster response and in my own life. I ignited my spark through connection and through action. Let me show you how, because that handshake in the Philippines didn't arrive out of nowhere. A few years before that typhoon, I was living in Switzerland. I had a great job in telecoms, great salary, spent the weekends in the mountains. On paper, it was everything I was supposed to want. I had 2 roads in front of me. The first road was clear. A promotion was on the table. More money, more responsibility. And everyone around me told me, you'd be crazy not to take it. The second road was unknown. Around that time, during my lunch breaks, I volunteered at a local English school, teaching young asylum seekers who had escaped countries I had only ever seen on the news. And here they were learning a new language, a new culture. They were remaking their lives. And I felt a pull. I could help. Walking back to my office, my career anxiety suddenly felt quite small. Not unimportant, but small. When I thought about the promotion, I felt trapped. Part of me sensed there was something else. But I kept telling myself, just be sensible, just wait. For weeks I tried to reason it out, but I just kept going around in circles in my head. The discomfort got so loud, I eventually did the one thing I had been avoiding to do, and I reached out for help. I found a coach, and in the first session, it stopped being about the job. It became about me. It became about my values, my beliefs, and the expectations that I had inherited. I could feel my chest tighten as the words in my body argued with what was going on in my mind. And one question kept coming up again and again: who are you responsible for? And I heard myself answer, my boss, my parents, that version of me that never takes a risk. I realized I wasn't stuck because I didn't know what to do. I was stuck because I was afraid of who I would disappoint if I chose a different path. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Standing still stopped being an option. The next day, I went to see my boss on the 24th floor. And as I entered, he said, "Congratulations, Seán. We're offering you the job." I thanked him for his faith in me and said, "Actually, the reason I'm here is to resign." For weeks, I had no idea what would happen next, but I had momentum. I threw myself into finding out about the humanitarian sector and how I could contribute. I enrolled in courses and I reached out to people. One of those conversations led to a job offer. 2 months later, I'm on a plane heading towards the Democratic Republic of Congo. I was terrified. I had no idea what I was stepping into, but I was excited. I was moving towards something that felt right. Over the next year, I helped a local community to build a school, a health clinic, and provide clean water. I even learned karate from our security guard. Not only did he have a black belt, it turned out he was also the local parish priest. You see, the restlessness I couldn't name in Zurich, that was my spark waiting to be lit. The discomfort pushed me to reach out. The coach helped me to see what I couldn't see alone. And the teaching moved me towards something before I had a plan. It was connection and then action. That handshake in the Philippines, that was the proof. I could arrive with no certainty and still find a way. But here's the question that is forming. What happens when action doesn't work? Because sometimes we do take a step forward, but the outcome is not within our control. Sadly, many parts of the world are on fire right now, and over time it gets to you, thinking and waiting and watching people suffer day after day, feeling powerless to help. So last year, when a call went out for a peace march towards the Rafah border in Egypt, myself and my wife said we needed to go. Thousands came from all around the world. But before we could gather, the police moved in, they barricaded the roads, and they confiscated our passports. We sat under a blazing sun among strangers, but strangers who had also chose action rather than waiting. The march failed to happen. And afterwards, people asked us, "Did you achieve anything?" Yes. Action didn't solve the crisis, but it changed something in us. It lifted us out of the despair we felt and back to the kind of people that still show up. In a world on fire, finding your spark is not a guarantee of success. It's sometimes a refusal to be consumed by helplessness. And sometimes we get to ignite that together. But let me be clear, I'm not saying be reckless. I'm saying do two things. Reach out, find a person that helps you see clearly. A coach or a friend, someone who asks just the right question. Act on what you learn. Test it. Move towards what pulls you before you see the path. Connection to see and action to become. It works in a disaster zone. It also works in a conversation you've been avoiding or a decision you've been delaying. You can move before you feel ready. The world feels brittle and uncertain, and our instinct is to wait for more information or for the fear to pass. But in my experience, clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from connection and action. So here is my invitation to you, not someday, but not when you feel ready, but tonight. As you travel home, name the decision that you've been delaying and one person that could help you see it more clearly. And tomorrow, reach out and take one small step. That's your handshake moment. Months from now, you might not remember this talk, but you might remember the connection you made and the conversation that you had and the step you took and how one led to another and then another. That's how you move before you feel ready, and that's how sparks get lit. Thank you.